what's going on, guys? Chad here with Greenlight Shooting, and welcome to this new review video. So today we're talking about this belt here. This is a quick release magnetic buckle tactical belt. It's called the Badgerstrap, and it's made by a company called Carbon Tactics. It's currently in its Kickstarter phase, but you know, they wanted to send me one, get my thoughts and kind of feedback and stuff like that, and I wanted to share it with you guys as well. So if you're familiar with like the Cobra tactical belts, it's kind of their version of that. It's pretty similar. So let's dive into this. I want to show you the belt, how it works, you know, what's made of, stuff like that, and then we'll go into kind of my pros and cons. So let's get into a quick overview of this belt. First of all, this material here is a nylon. It's a woven nylon. It comes in a couple different colors as well as options. So there's a single layer or a double layer option. The double layer obviously is just two layers stacked on top of each other, sewn together. Gives it a little bit more rigidity, which is great if you're, you know, planning to carry a firearm or something on it and don't want it waving back and forth, obviously. So double layer is what they gave me, and then here at the end it goes to single layer, and this section is what will fit through the buckle itself. Now the buckle itself is where kind of the glory is in this belt. So as you can see, the buckle is a quick release buckle, which is really nice, just built on a magnet kind of setup here. So we've got a male end and a female end. To put them together, really simple, literally just touch them together and they slam together, and it's a very, very secure hold. To take them apart, you just push the two ends together and twist. So really, really secure, a really nice setup as far as simplicity. So far, so good. Now on the back of the male piece is this sliding kind of little gold bar right here. This, you know, the whole purpose of it, I guess, is once you get the material through it, you can slide it one way or the other and it kind of locks it in place, which is nice. But for one, it's a little janky. I mean, if there's any part of this belt that doesn't live up quality-wise, this thing is pretty, I don't know, it's the only part that feels cheap on this belt, but I guess you don't see it, so as long as it serves its purpose. On the back of the male piece are some arrows. Now, I didn't see these arrows. It didn't come with instructions, so I didn't really know how to thread this thing, but once I talked to the manufacturer, he mentioned these little arrows here. So I'm gonna take this end of the belt here. Let's see. So this needs to be this way. I'm gonna buckle these together. It might be easier to thread this. Okay, so I'm gonna thread this end through under the gold bar as per the arrows. Now, you can't just force this, so I think maybe you have to pull back on the gold bar and push here. All right, there you go. So yeah, I used my left hand to hold that gold bar back, and then you just tighten it to whatever tightness you want. And you've got this little extra elastic piece on the belt, which slides around. You can slide that up to where you want and tuck the tail, the little excess here, under that. So there's a few different ways to actually thread this. This is sort of the classic way, but as you can see right here, if the belt hasn't been worn in this style for a long time, you get this big bubble. And you can imagine what that looks like on your pants. It sticks out a couple inches, and it's I don't know, it's awkward looking. But another option is we can unthread this, and we can go in the opposite way on the gold bar. So if we go against the arrows and just push it, that way you don't have to hold the gold bar either. Then you can fold this under again and tuck it into your elastic band on the underside of the belt so that you don't have that extra tail sticking out. If I can get this thing through the elastic piece, there we go. So that's a different option. He did mention that there are different load capacities for each of these ways. So if you're going with a heavier load, like using this as a sling, one way it can hold more weight than the other. So keep that in mind. But as you can see, we run into the same issue if you're just using this as a belt. It's still got that big bubble on it, man. You can't really avoid that. So it's just kind of sticking out on you. So the last way that he told me to try it out is to thread it the same direction, but this time just take the tail and go under the other side of the buckle. So it lays kind of like that. And I will admit that is a lot more flat. Anyways, as you can imagine, if you're wearing this on your belt and you've got this little tail tucked into the underside of your belt buckle or whatever, and you go to take these off for whatever reason, you push in, you twist, and you've got this tail still stuck on a belt loop that you've got to undo. And then of course, putting them back together, you've got to thread the belt loop and then attach the two. So I don't really know that it's much faster than a normal belt at that point, you know? With the bump, he says that after a couple days of wearing it this way, you know, the belt should just kind of, it'll get used to it, right? And it'll start to flatten out. Now, I wore it for probably 4 or 5 days like that, and it never flattened out. And also, here's the other reason I think that. It's because like when I wore it, depending on what pants I was wearing, depending on what gun I was carrying, you know, they all fit differently and the belt needed to be different lengths. So it wasn't always in the same crease every time. So I never got rid of that bubble. And I have to admit, it drove me absolutely crazy. I hated it. And then once I started wearing it the other way with the tail tucked underneath on the, you know, on the female buckle side, it looked a little bit better, but again, it kind of defeated the purpose of the quick release. Also, if you've got it folded that traditional way, you can't adjust it. Again, if you're wearing different pants or you want to switch out your gun or you want to take out your gun or put a gun in or something like that, you know, you want to be able to move your belt a little bit. And you can't move this belt. You can't adjust it at all, at least easily. And if you do adjust it, again, you're losing that crease that flattens the buckle out, and all of a sudden you've got this huge bubble again. So that's my thoughts on this belt. I don't know, man. I really, really like the idea of the belt. Like, I like this thing in theory. You know, you hear about it and it's just like, oh, super quick, snap together, snap apart. But I mean, even look at that. The belt just, it stands up. It doesn't lay flat. So for me, I gave this thing a real shot. I used it for like 2 weeks. And I just never got it to work right for me. So unfortunately, at least in this stage, I've got to say that it's not something that I would recommend picking up. However, you know, to each his own. This might be a great setup for you if you just really like that quick release style and you need a nylon belt for whatever reason, or maybe you want to use it as a sling or just something else. I should mention, by the way, there is something I would use this belt for. I would use this belt for like a tool belt. Specifically for me, like a film tool belt, you know, when I'm on set or whatever, but you could use this as a normal tool belt because of that quick release. I would just leave it like this and not thread it through my belt loops and, you know, attach all my tools or whatever to it and then just show up to set. Boom, I've got my tools all by my side, and then take it off. If I use this thing in the future, it's gonna be for that purpose. So that's it for my review on the Badgerstrap by Carbon Tactics. If you wanna learn more about the belt or Carbon Tactics, check out the link down in the description below. You can see their Kickstarter, their main website, all that good stuff. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. I'd love to hear your feedback too. Have you ever used this belt or have you ever used a belt similar? Leave your comments down below. Hit that thumbs up button if you like this video. Please share this video if you think someone else might enjoy it. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more review videos, tips and tricks, top lists, all that good stuff. We got a video coming out every single week, so we will see you guys next week on Greenlight Shooting. If you haven't seen these other 2 videos, please check them out. But it's definitely got more of an ergonomic feel. Like in the back of this, I think